Today, I'm in conversation with Chipo Mapondera, a creative technologist. You're watching the UK series brought to you in partnership with the Nyaradzo Group. I go beyond the headlines and beyond the sensational. If you enjoy this episode, remember to subscribe, to like, and to share. Let's get down to some work. Greetings. Welcome to In Conversation with Trevor UK series brought to you by the Nyaradzo Group. I go beyond the headlines and beyond the sensational. If you enjoy this series, remember to subscribe, to like, and to share. Let's get down to some work. Chipo Mapondera, welcome to In Conversation with Trevor.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. So excited to have you. And I'm looking at the way you're dressed, and there's a story being told here, top to bottom. Shall we go there? You're a fashion person. Talk to me about the shoes.
So the shoes are by a local designer, Mucheno Afro. His name is Nomutsa, just in his early 20s, like super hardworking, really great people person, sort of customer relations type of person, and incredibly creative in what he creates, you know? I met him.
And the top? So go ahead. You met him? No. Let's talk about him.
I met him at one of the most pioneering fashion events in Zimbabwe called the Fabric Party.
Mm-hmm.
That's done by Uleni Okandlovu. You definitely have to check it out.
Really?
It's on annually, and it's just growing and growing. It's a fantastic platform for local fashion and creativity. And yeah, we met there. And because I'm in fashion, I've worked in fashion internationally, in South Africa, in France, in the UK. And, you know, I'm just so interested and excited about what's happening locally. Nomutsa made this jacket as well. He's just, you know, there's so much that's coming out from Zim that's leading, like that's even more fashionable than what we're seeing here. When I'm dressed in my Zim clothes in London at all these like fashion events and stuff, people are like, what are you wearing? I'm like, it's from Zim. So I'm working on having just an all Zim wardrobe, basically.
And the rings?
The rings are Vaishali Naran, another Zimbabwean jeweler, specifically fine jewelry. So we went to high school together. And again, she's an incredible maker. She has learnt about jewelry, about the craft of jewelry, even about stones, cutting stones in all the highest places all over the world, from South Africa to America. And now she's based in the UK and yeah, really making her mark. It's amazing.
Why do you feel you should support the local designers?
Firstly, because they're making amazing things, amazing quality, amazing creativity. I wouldn't wear it if it wasn't, you know, great product. And because it's something new. I think that there's a huge interest in what's happening on the African continent on a whole. I'm seeing that through my work as well. I'll tell you more. It's a young population. We're just newly connected through technology, and we're expressing ourselves. You know, we're expressing our heritage, we're expressing our contemporary lives, and we're expressing it authentically. And there's nothing like it out in the world, right? So I like
it's our superpower.
Exactly. And I'm all about originality and authenticity. How authentic can I be if I'm decked in like Parisian fashion? I love it. This is Alexander McQueen. It's nice. But when I'm in my like Zim clothes or expressing myself authentically, expressing my culture and where I come from, that's when you really get noticed.
That's interesting, because coming from your generation, because I think for some of us, my generation, your dad, John Mapondera, and I, we were seduced into Western fashion. But you young people are all about this authentic stuff. Where does it come from, particularly for you?
I think, I have had a Western and international education. Even our private Zimbabwean education, it's British, right? And then came to university in the UK and America and other countries, and learned so much of that European history, European culture. I can talk to you about French and European art, architecture, do you know what I mean? Like, I know that. But then you're always trying to fit into something else. You're always trying to like prove yourself. And because of the type of career that I wanted to be at Vogue, I wanted to be at Chanel. I had to work so hard to prove myself. Like, I deserve to be here too. I've done that and it was really fun. I learned so much. But now I'm more interested in carving out my own niche, working for myself, making my own legacy. So I think the only way to do that is with authenticity. You can't be like, oh, I want to make a mark in England. I'm going to show you British stuff, which they've seen before. What's interesting is a new, original, authentic perspective. And it hasn't been seen before. The time is now.
Is there a sense of what you've experienced with the struggle of wanting to fit in and not being fully accepted? Is that a factor why this authenticity becomes such a strong thing?
I wouldn't even look at it from like a limiting point of view. I've never felt like, I don't want it to come across like I was like begging for opportunities or wanting to be accepted. No, because I always grew up knowing like, Chipo Mapondera, I come from this family and this is what we represent. So I know that I deserve to be anywhere. And I just wanted certain opportunities and I got them. But of course, there's things that you have to consider like visas, etc. So you do have to work hard to overcome those kind of things. But I've never look at it from like a point of weakness at all. I just think, I don't know, it's happened kind of organically. I spent the pandemic in Zimbabwe after leaving like 15 or so years ago and not being in Zim for a long time, just short holidays. And it just reopened my eyes. The creative landscape in Zim was really, really interesting, things happening, a lot of interest in it, especially like in visual art, contemporary art. And I don't know, I think I just like watched it a little bit over the past couple of years and then started creating in virtual reality, like combining my creativity with technology. And yeah, something just merged and it's expanding.
Did it emerge during that COVID space?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think it did, because I think we had a lot of time to reflect, right? It was a reset in a way. And actually, at the beginning of COVID, I was so devastated to be in Zim. Not like in a bad, but like I had just gotten my job at Net-a-Porter, this dream, like the largest e-commerce company in the world. I got my first job as a software developer, and then I'm stuck in Zim and I'm thinking, And then, yeah, it was just a switch in my mentality and seeing that I can always be working for someone for the rest of my life and thinking like, that's the best thing I can do is to work at this company or work at that. Or I can start doing something that's purposeful, that's making a positive impact in my own society, and that's going to take me much further. So that's when that shift started to happen.
I'm fascinated by the reset that comes from this very difficult place, COVID, where you think you've lost an opportunity, but something else opens up. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you are working on two fascinating projects, the Futuristic Pagan and the immersive assembly, Dreams and Echoes. And I'm fascinated by the fact that a young person like you is going into the space of our African beliefs and rituals. What takes you there before we get into the projects themselves?
Also during the COVID period, I would take long walks at the end of the day after work, and I was listening to different podcasts.
On Umwinzidale
On
Road.
Umwinzidale Road, such a beautiful place to walk and just like be in nature. I love it. And I came across this podcast called The Journey Kwantu. It's actually a South African podcast, and it's looking at African traditional culture, but through a South African lens. And I was just learning about some belief systems and also history, like learning about how colonial history sort of disrupted and broke down some of the things that helped us live in harmony, like either socially or environmentally, and just also gave us that self-esteem and self-worth as a people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I also met different people during that time. There's an art center called Zimbanete in Harare. I met Chikonzero Chazunguza, who's the founder of that center. He's also the teacher of some of the most globally esteemed contemporary artists. Moffat Takadiwa, Jay-Z owns his work. Portia Javahera.
Moffat has sat in that chair.
Yes, he has actually.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moffat, Portia Javahera, Virginia Chiota, he taught these greats. And I'm really interested in, I always go and visit Sekuru Chiko every time I'm in Zim, because just sitting with him, talking, listening to what he has to say, he believes in a decolonial approach to education. So even in my art, as I'm talking to him, telling him my ideas, he's, sharing some perspectives that make me rethink how I approach things. And I think just the whole interest in like traditional spirituality, history, it just came with being more in touch with myself, and also recognizing that some of the things that we follow, whether it's politically, economically, religiously in Zimbabwe, they're very new things. Because if I look at my great-grandfather, Chief Mapondera, that isn't centuries ago. This is a very new history, So, yeah, it's a personal and organic exploration, and I'm just expressing it.
You're saying, like sitting down with Sekuru
Chiko
Chazunguza makes you rethink certain things. Talk to me about what you are having to rethink.
So even with technology and going into the future and progress, I could come to Zoom and be all fancy talking about AI and technology, that I'm into. And Sekuru Chiko says, you know what AI makes me think about? It makes me think about matare, and that trying to connect with an infinite source of knowledge. And there's many places, even in history, where what we think of as progressive Western ideas or things that are commodified and sold back to us from the West come from the global South. Whether that's yoga for wellness and meditation, that's Ayurvedic, or ways of eating come from South America, for example. So it's just respecting ourselves more and respecting that we have histories, we have values. They're not less than anyone else, and yeah, that gives me a sense of esteem. Like I have something to really talk about that's mine.
That excites me to have a young person talking the way you're doing, reclaiming who we are and being proud and confident of our heritage. That excites me. So break it down to us in terms of what Futuristic Pagan is all about.
So Futuristic Pagan is a project that I co-created with Sabina Muchati. She's actually married to Sekuru Chico. Sabina is a fashion designer and a visual artist in her own right, and incredibly creative, incredibly visionary as well. So I met her when I went to visit Zimbanete the first time. We had very short 10-minute conversations. She's very reserved actually, and I'd gone there to visit Zimbanete and speak with Sekuru Chico, and sort of said hello when we were leaving. That happened once or twice. And I saw some of her work. She showed me some of her work, and I went to see her to ask her to design some clothes for me. And we were like, okay, we're going to do that. And then a couple of weeks later, Kombo Chatvika, who's a local artist and also somebody who's really working with different technologies. He's the artist at the Venice Biennale for Zimbabwe this year.
Wow.
I had also met him at the Fabric Party, and he sent me an open call for the Design Futures Lab, an initiative from Cape Town to expose young Africans to XR, new technologies, immersive technologies. And you needed someone with a tech background and someone with a fashion background. So I said, Sabina, let's do this. And we had just been talking about our personal lives, our personal journeys. This was soon after the pandemic. I was telling her about, these things I was discovering about our spirituality. She's, of course, very attached to Zimbanete, so that's their whole world.
I'm going to stop you there. We take a break because that's a beautiful place that we're going to go into. So when we come back, I want us to round off the futuristic Pagan and then go to the Massive Assembly Dreams and Echoes. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you about the Kuchena VR. I'm absolutely excited about that. So at home, don't go away. Join us on the other side.
So it's a virtual space that you can go into and feel connected. When you're in there, you feel like there's some ceremony happening, so you're surrounded by people.
Welcome back. You're watching the UK series brought to you in partnership with the Nyaradzo Group. I'm in conversation with Chipo Mapondera. So Chipo, before we took that break, I did indicate that I want us to sort of round up our conversation around Futuristic Pagan, that project, and then we go to the Massive Assembly Dreams and Echoes. So I've saw it. I didn't click through it. What is it all about?
So it's a virtual reality experience where you are in a Zezuru homestead, and we created it at the Design Futures Lab in Cape Town, which is organized by Electric South. And the call was to create something around the theme of fashion sustainability. Sabina is an incredible fashion designer, so she was doing the fashion design aspect. And when we thought about environmental sustainability, we had to do it in our own authentic way, And, within our traditional culture, there's so many practices that we have in relation to nature, respecting nature, protecting nature, and understanding that we live in harmony with it. And that is in our connecting with the ancestral realm. And we also looked at it in terms of architecture. We build with natural, sustainable materials. And our fashion showroom was Imbaya Mai. We're two women creating this project. So there was a touch of feminism or just upholding the...
And it's on YouTube, so people can go and look for Futuristic Pagan. Let's move on to Immersive Assembly, Dreams and Echoes. What are you trying to do there?
So
it's work in progress, isn't it?
Yes.
Or are you done already?
No, it's work in progress.
Work in progress.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, what are you trying to project?
Immersive Assembly is an art residency based here in the UK, Mediale and Oxford University. And we are going to create an immersive experience again using technology. I'm partnered with Alicia Nelson. She is of Malaysian descent. So she's also interested in indigenous cultures. So we're going to be layering the Zimbabwean indigenous cultures with the Malay indigenous cultures and creating this beautiful immersive experience about how we dream, how we experience our consciousness. And we're exhibiting in Oxford in November.
Fantastic. Then the other one, I made a mistake before we took that break. I said Kuchera. It's Kuchema, VR, virtual reality.
Yes.
What I like about that is what you say is you are hacking history.
Yes.
And using virtual reality. Talk to me in the first instance what you mean by your hacking history, and then what Kuchema, the project, is all about.
Yeah. So hacking history in terms of writing out, let's say, the colonial history from our history. So if that had not existed, how would we use some of our spaces, whether everyday spaces or natural spaces like the Chinoi Caves, Chirorodziva Caves, where that project is set? How would we use those spaces? What significance and meaning would they have? And also, the project looks at our healing modalities, especially around mental health. That's quite a huge and significant issue across the world, really, you know. Maybe as we're always on our phones and disconnected, exactly. So it's a virtual space that you can go into and feel connected. When you're in there, you feel like there's some ceremony happening, so you're surrounded by people, because our healing modalities in a time of grief, for example, was about the community getting together, holding space for those people through music and spending time with each other. So that's what it is expressing and
looks
exploring.
Beautiful. I'm a bit scared to click and watch it, but after this conversation, I'm going to do that. So you are the founding director of Global Digital Futures. You've been doing this since 2018, and you are developing immersive technology projects. I mean, this is big stuff for this old man. So talk to me about that responsibility of yours.
So Global Digital Futures, it's always been about the impact of technology, especially in the Global South. That's what it started as a podcast, and I was looking at that on a broader range, like social media and the internet. How does it impact in Africa, Asia, South America? That's while I was studying at SOAS. And it's just evolved as my work has evolved. So now, yes, I'm creating these immersive technology projects about, let's say, our African Zimbabwean culture, but also we're looking into AI. I'm currently on a residency called Electric Dreaming.
Where is the residency?
So it's with an agency called Bright Black with Cambridge University. So I've just been at Cambridge University. We were hosted by the Leverhulme Institute for Future Studies, or Future Intelligence, sorry. Mm-hmm. And then we'll go next week to Liverpool John Moores University. And I really believe in getting all this knowledge, whether it's technical knowledge or conceptual knowledge that I'm gaining, and thinking about how can we make a positive impact, in my own community, in my own society, in Zimbabwe, because the world is changing fast and technology is what's taking us there. We should not be left behind. So this is partly what Global Digital Futures is all about. And instead of just like talking about the subject, I want to actually be doing it. Most of my collaborators are in Zim. So I'm saying, hey guys, we're working on these amazing projects, let's do this. And this is the standard that we have to work at. I created a WhatsApp group, Zim Digital Creatives, always sharing like resources amongst each other. All the lectures that we had in Cambridge, I've shared them in that group. Because we have to share this information. We need to know what's going on in the rest of the world, because we're creative enough, but then it takes more than just the raw creativity. We have to understand it intellectually, and we also have to know what we're going to do with it to innovate and progress our society.
So we can actually, from what you're saying, we can actually harness AI to multiply, yes, and amplify, maybe that's the better word, the issues that you're passionate about, our rituals, our culture. Is that your sense?
Yes, so I am personally will be doing that. Yeah, so I'm learning how to create my own machine learning models so that I will be taking local data, which is really important as well, because our data, and especially authentic information, African data, Zimbabwean, it's so limited out there.
Absolutely.
Like if you search Imbaya Maya on Google, you don't really get good results, because they just don't have that information. So part of what I want to do is, get the authentic data, get the correct information, and build data models around that so that all these AI systems can also include some of our data so that we're equally represented.
So let's go to your, where were you born?
In Harare.
Which schools did you go to?
Bishopsley for primary and Arundel for high school.
University?
I went to Queen Mary University in the UK, yeah.
Why did you decide to go to Queen Mary?
I was actually into fashion. I was into drama at that stage. And my dad was a bit like questionable in terms of drama school. He felt it was like too limited. So that was a really good university for drama. I studied French and drama there, yeah. But then I started interning in fashion during university. I got my first internship at Marie Claire in Cape Town and then at Vogue. And then I was like, it was just, I was gone from there. I was into fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, you did your MA in global media and post-national communication.
Yes. I actually have 2 MAs. My first MA was in Italy, fashion brand management.
At PolyModa?
At PolyModa, yes. So I worked in South Africa for 3 years after uni and then went to Italy because
Italy. Because Italy. I'm fascinated also by how you have been very deliberate, starting from the bottom and working your way up. So you start, one of your first jobs was a freelance writer for a number of publications, including the Financial Mail and Business Day. You interned quite a number of times with Elle, with Marie Claire, with Vogue. Perhaps one of your early jobs was as a PR account director with styling concepts. Was it deliberate? Were you being deliberate? Were you chancing it? Talk to me about that, because there seems to be some method in this madness.
That is the right way to say it. I think I'm a bit of both. I'm definitely like a creative person, so that indicates like a non-linear way of being, But I'm very quick to connect the dots between things and to see where opportunities might lie, I wanted to work in fashion. I wanted to work at a certain level in fashion. So that was the starting point, and that was always the driving.
You were clear about that.
I was clear about that. And I think clarity is important because, when you finish uni, it's not that easy to just get into your dream job.
But where did you get the clarity from? A lot of young people, even your age, would say, I don't know what I want to be. Where did you get that clarity from? How was this formed? So the young people watching you and hearing you sounding so eloquent and confident about that clarity, like, where did you get it from? Where is it sold?
I think I am fortunate that I think my family structure is a big part of it. We did grow up having a lot of conversations, whether it's with my granny or my tetes or my parents, just about life in general. And having the space, I think, to think about yourself as a person, do you know what I mean? And what space you take up in any given situation. So I think that did give me a sense of like being self-assured. I do believe in myself. But I follow my passions. That's, I follow my passions, and I think I don't wear rose-tinted glasses. Like, I want to work in fashion in South Africa or in Europe. I need to get visas. It's a really interesting industry that like thousands of people want to work in. So I need to somehow rise above like all those other people. So I'm aware of that, and aware of just like the hard work that it takes,
Do you think this awareness is shared by your generation?
I think there is a hungriness to achieve and a hunger for success. I think you have to be aware where that hunger is coming from, though, because if you're just driven by making money, it can become questionable. Do you know what I mean? If you're driven by purpose, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what resources you have. Like, you're gonna make it happen. You're going to make it happen. So I think it is important to be aware of what's driving your desire for success. If it's to be adored by many people, again, questionable, So it's the awareness of what you want, but also that it takes hard work and patience. Like, you're not going to have thousands of followers from the word go or even further down the line. But yeah, there has to be something more to why you're doing things, I guess.
So you have done e-commerce, digital marketing, software developer with the Porter Group, full stack developer, luxury professional. Some of these terms I'm meeting for the first time, looking at the stuff that you're doing. And which of these responsibilities would you say have done the most in shaping you as a professional career-wise?
So I suppose I've always, I don't know, I in high school, I was just always reading fashion magazines. I was always reading Vogue, I was always reading Teen Vogue. I was like obsessed with it. And that's just the standard that I wanted to be at. And to be at that standard, because now with Global Digital Futures, like, we're producing VR, we're producing films, and I get the sense that something that does make my work stand out a bit is a certain perfectionism. Like, even with my team or collaborators, they're super talented and also at a high standard, but we're not going to stop until it's done. Because have you ever seen a Chanel ad where there's something that looks off? It doesn't exist. And that's just, where the training that I've had. And so just like working at that level, and then you were talking about like the method and the madness, maybe being in leading companies, you see where the market and trends are going and how things are changing. So when I was at Chanel in marketing, it was mostly focusing on the in-store marketing and printed magazines, Very shortly afterwards, we were moving online. So that really changed things, and social media becomes more important. And it's just understanding, like, marketing is still marketing, but it's evolved so much, right? So I'm still Chipo, the fashion professional, but I've evolved with how the times have evolved. And, when we're working on the website on the e-commerce platform, I'm collaborating with software developers. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what is that? Yeah. And just realize that, I don't know, where the opportunity might lie. Maybe being a software developer and being able to build your own platforms, that gives you a lot of power. Facebook was built by software developers. Google was built by software developers.
And you are a software developer. We're going to take a break there. And when we come back, what I love about you, there's so many things I love about you, is that intersection between technology and culture, and how you are using the power of technology to amplify our culture and to hack history, like you're saying. And that coming from a young person absolutely excites me. When we come back, you do a lot of mentoring. We're going to go to that place, and I'd love to hear what books you are reading to keep yourself abreast with developments. At home, don't go away. That's the place where we're going to go after the break. See you on the other side.
Looking at AI and other technologies like that, how can we really harness that technology locally and make an impact, empower people to become entrepreneurs and innovators in their own right?
Welcome back. You're watching the UK series brought to you in partnership with the Nyaradzo Group. I'm in conversation with Chipo Mapondera, a software designer, a fashionista, a thinker. You have won a number of awards. You have done a number of exhibitions. I have problems with pronouncing that word. I won't try again. Which awards stand out for you, and which displays, I'm trying to avoid pronouncing that word, stand out for you, and why?
So the Career Breakout Award, the Innovate UK Career Breakout Award, that has been standout for me because of the networks that it's opened up. Innovate UK is sort of like the network of the leading experts in immersive technology and XR in the UK. So it's an incredible network. And they've been mentoring me and introducing me to different labs, studios, various individuals that can help me progress in my career. So that's been invaluable because I do really believe in mentorship, connecting with people. Your network is key, you know? So that's been invaluable. The exhibition that has stood out was definitely the National Gallery of Zimbabwe.
Really?
Definitely. That was such an important platform for us because there's no point in making content or art about Zimbabwean traditional culture that is only seen in Europe, you know? So it's really, really important for us to have a significant platform to show the work in Zimbabwe. They were little ones, but that was like, you know, very significant. The National Gallery being in the CBD of Harare, people from all areas of Harare.
Easily accessible.
And exactly,
Yeah.
It's accessible. I was there every day for the first month, meeting people who were experiencing it, talking to people. We had a feedback book there as well. So got so much feedback from people that visited. And it's also a global destination. People that come to travel to Zimbabwe from South America, Europe, they came to the exhibition as well. You go to the National Gallery of a country, you know. So that was an incredible platform. It also helped us to really understand what this thing could be and the significance of the project as well. So yeah.
It's the first time that I've actually got to know about PolyModa, the institution, the university. Talk to me about it and why it's special.
Yeah, it's such a special place. Like, it's a fashion school, so specifically focused on fashion. There's the design school. Another Zimbabwean went to the design school, Rumbidzai Matemachani. She's a shoe designer. There's a design school and there's the business school. I was at the business school studying brand management. And it's about breaking down everything you know and think you know about fashion, luxury, art, history, culture, and remaking it in a way that's disruptive and never seen before in your own way. So that's basically what that's a process that happens to you there. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And it's a school that's supported by all the luxury companies in Italy. So your Gucci is the main brands, you know. And after PolyModa, I went to Chanel. So that says a lot.
Wow. You have given lectures at PolyModa. You have, eh? Well, what lectures have you delivered there?
I had a course actually in technology, because I was sort of saying I had a really good relationship with, you know, my mentors and course directors while I was studying there. And, you know, I went back to Danilo. He was the head of the school at that time, Danilo Venturi. And I was saying, you know, you've got to do something that includes technology. Like, you know, your students need to know more about technology and fashion. We did media, but not like the coding and, you know. So yeah, that's what I was teaching. We did some coding, we did some web design, and yeah, it was a really fantastic experience.
And mentoring, you do a bit of mentoring.
Yeah,
You've already talked about how important it is,
yes.
but you do that yourself.
Yeah, I've sort of like inadvertently done that, because I'm quite reserved actually. Like I don't even really like use social media and that sort of thing. I just like work away.
Yeah.
But yes, especially now that I go to Zimbabwe a lot, and I spent the pandemic in Zimbabwe, I've met a lot of young creatives. I've met a lot of people that I collaborate with and who mentor me as well. And, you know, some of the younger creatives who perhaps see something that they might want to do, or perhaps feel like they could learn something from me as well. Like, yeah, I just let them know, like, just the practical things that we have to do and think about to move forward in our careers and further, like your work, but also your impact as a person, you know. And now with my company, Global Digital Futures, I have a small team. I work with Daryl Zapasi. He has a company called Creative Consulting. He manages my social media. And we do some different projects together. We've just launched on Wednesday a new series about AI. We'll be interviewing people from around the world about AI. And also Joel Chandauka. He is only in university, 22 years old, 23, at the UZ, incredibly talented. He creates our content. I also work with him on some of the VR, 3D modeling. And I think as a mentor, you also gain yourself.
Yeah.
So
it's a reverse thing, you know.
Exactly,
it's a two-way process. Yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. Joel and I, we started working together because he was tutoring me on 3D modeling so that I could improve my 3D modeling. And then we started doing other things together. Now we've produced a film that will be showing, it's been selected for the EU Film
Which
Festival.
one is that one?
So Kuchema the VR,
Yeah.
because it's set in the Chirorodziva caves, which has the water body. I was curious about the spirituality of water in our tradition. And a film came about from conversations that I had and then collaborations that I had. And yeah, that film is being shown at the EU Film Festival in October, and we're shortlisted for an award. So
wish you the best with that. What's the next big thing for you? Looking at yourself now and saying the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, what would I have created?
So with a creative career, like let's say you're working wholly as an artist, it can be challenging to monetize that and make it financially sustainable. So that's the first thing that I really want to do. And not just in the terms of like getting by, no, like really making that creative output and creative product something, a product, you know, and because it's technology, I am the creative part. It comes so easily to me. It's like breathing. I can make things, come up with concepts and make things. That comes really easily. But now I'm really thinking about the larger impact, the bigger impact. Technology has the potential to change society for the better. Look at Econet and EcoCash, just one product. How did that change things for Zimbabweans? So it's looking at this tech in that way. With VR or immersive technology, there's the archiving of Zimbabwean heritage and how can we package that? This is the work that I'm already doing. But then looking at AI and other technologies like that, how can we really harness that technology locally and make an impact, empower people to become entrepreneurs and innovators in their own right, solve local issues, turn them around through this technology, like empowering people to do that. This is what I've been thinking about lately.
Those are big things, heavy lifting. What has it been like, young person in the diaspora? What's the good and bad about being in the diaspora for you? What have been your experiences like?
Yeah. So I think I'm hugely fortunate because I came here by choice, just, by curiosity. Oh, I want to study in England, not by necessity. And I think that can be...
That's a big difference.
That's a big difference. Yeah. So it's a big difference in terms of the support that you might have, the freedom to experience different things, But the benefits are, the world is your oyster. Like Sabina and I, we've been selected for the CPH lab in Copenhagen. It's a residency for digital technology. We'll be showing our work at the Copenhagen International Film Festival next year. It costs £120 for me to get there. It costs Sabina 1,100 to get there. So there's things that we can be completely blocked off from just from where you are in the world, So the benefit is that the world becomes your oyster in certain ways. My career definitely flourishes here. I think some of the challenges are, it's difficult to then tap in with your community because you're working, you're busy, people are also spread out, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of other... When you're at home, there's much more of a work-life balance. There's much more of
community,
time for community, family. Fortunately, my family are close and I see them often. I've got a big family. So I don't lack that. But yeah, that's probably the thing that can be a challenge here.
We love books here, so I'm not going to let you go before we talk books. We have created a big WhatsApp group for the Trevor Book Club. So, search for it, you'll find us there. What books would you want to recommend to our book-loving audience? Three books.
3 books.
Yeah.
They're going to be about technology.
That's who you are. Yeah.
So the technology singularity, it just talks about...
Singularity is here.
Yes, that was also like a really significant book.
I just bought it from Joburg because it's as big as that. It frightens me. Yeah. But which one were you going to recommend?
So there's another book called The Technology Singularity, and it's specifically about AI and the questions that we might have about the ethics and how it develops and how we all need to get involved to move this.
By who? Who wrote that book? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay, we'll find it. The second book?
The second book, Of Gods and Robots, very fascinating. It's sort of looking at how the future, the technological future, is also influenced by the past, our traditional, global traditional cultures. So it's looking at, the interplay between these things, the future and the past.
Do you remember who wrote
I
it?
do
No,
not, I'm
that's fine. So
sorry.
you're just like me. I forget authors and the titles of the books. The third one, we'll find them.
Capital in the 21st Century. That is about the economic situation that we're currently living in. And oh no, I don't know if that's the third actually. It's an important one, but I
Yeah.
just thought of another one.
Okay, which other one do you
The
want
other
to-
one is work in a post-capitalist world. So actually this book is very important because it's about politics, it's about economics, it's about technology. And it's thinking about how we need to understand, we need to become more politically engaged as individuals and understand what is going on in the political landscape and how capitalism and economics ties into that. And also understand how technology is developing, because we need to harness it in a way that benefits the majority, not the minority, which is what's going on now.
This has been beautiful. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Thank you
so
for creating the
much.
time, hey?
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. You remain sitting there, and allow me to turn over now to our viewers who are all over the world to say thank you so much for your support. Remember, we are a weekly show. We are out every Monday on YouTube, 7 a.m. Central African time. And to ensure that you don't miss out on any of these quality conversations, such as one I've just had with Chipo right now, please remember to subscribe, to like, and to share. When and if you subscribe, you'll get a notification every time we have one of these new episodes. We've created a website where all our content sits. Go onto that website and binge, including podcasts on Spotify. We love your comments. Go below this video and share your thoughts on what we've just been discussing right now. Until next time, cheers to you all.